Well, let's go back to Rupert Bell, our royal correspondent who's outside Westminster. Rupert, again, very significant moment for the King and for the Queen. And Daniel Britton commented earlier with the Queen and the King arriving into the House of Lords through separate doors, amazing trains, crowns, all of the pomp and the ceremony. Talk us through just how significant this is for the King. As you say, he had stood in for the Queen before, but he was talking about Her Majesty's government, not His Majesty's government. He's waited his entire life for this, hasn't he?
Absolutely. Look, he's going to be 75 next week. And, you know, the first one when both the King and Queen was 70-odd years ago. So you look, and he was a small boy back then. So you realise now that this, for him, has been his life's work, in a sense. The important things, a lot of the other stuff is the PR side of being a member of the royal family. But this is the significant annual state occasion for the state opening of the Parliament, and it's very important. You knew, as we've alluded to, how important it was for the Queen to fulfil her role here, and actually to have Queen Camilla. It shows her elevated status in many ways, in the way that he sees her as his rock and support, because clearly at 75 he's not getting any younger, so he needs that support. And it's also significant to see how prominent the role of the Princess Royal is in it as well, and where he sees her in the sort of scheme of things going forward.
There's no doubt
so
at all. That's
there are very important sort of...
Yeah, apologies. Very close relationship between the two of them. We know that. Coming back to you, Daniel Britton, in the studio. In terms of the constitutional situation we're in right now, where we're in a situation, we've got one more Parliament, we've got a general election, could be next summer, next May, could be, I think most people now expecting it to be next October, given that a lot of the things that Rishi Sunak said he wanted to be judged on in January aren't really going to come good anytime soon.
Absolutely.
And in terms of that, so when would we be seeing our next King's speech? Would that be in next autumn? Could it be before the next general election, or definitely after the next?
You could have another one next autumn, because I think this Parliament can go on to January 2025.
Hypothetically, to January 25.
And actually, that did happen in 2019. I think we had a state opening in September.
Yes, there were two.
Which was basically a shopping list of what the government would like to do. And then another one in December.
That's right.
3 months. Two in 1950, for example, the last time George VI did it. So we could have another King's speech, and I expect that would be a shopping list of what the government would like, what goodies the government would like to throw to us. And then it'd always be a state opening after an election.
And just going back to this sort of the very dry, somewhat, I mean, uncharitably, rather dull delivery.
Your job is safe, Julia.
Your job...
King Charles is not going to be presented.
I'd make an excellent monarch stroke empress.
Of course.
But there we are. I would self-identify as
I thought you were.
But Daniel, I mean, look, it's very downbeat delivery.
It is very
dry.
Yeah.
But the Queen did that as well. Now, part of that is you must be seen. I'm reading someone else's words. I'm not going to give any hint of any emotion at all to hint at any of my own personal views. That's very important in our constitutional monarchy.
It's become important, but I've read, you'll be pleased to hear, so that you didn't have to bother, the King's speeches of Edward VII, George V, George VI. They are more entertaining, or at least lighter, read, rarely. They could have more expression in them. Actually,
well, we don't want knock-knock jokes, but I mean something a bit more...
but the Queen did move to a very impersonal style. Now, whether King Charles changes that, but no, it is.
I don't know about you, Peter. I was rather hoping for a sort of a sort of one of those sort of asides to camera when he read about the oil gas licenses. A sort of a
bit of a wink, I think, would have been good as well. Maybe
we'd all have been cross about it.
Well, he said on that first day when he became king, "I will act as a constitutional monarch."
Okay, thank you very much indeed. That's Daniel Britton, constitutional historian. Peter Cardwell, our chief political commentator. Rupert Bell, of course, our royal correspondent outside Parliament. Just say your texts and tweets have also been coming in thick and fast this lunchtime. I asked, what is the one law you would most want to see in the King's speech, and why? Martin says he wants to abolish the London mayoralty. Yeah, well, that would work for me. Neil says lifetime driving ban for driving in the middle lane when not overtaking anything. 100%. I'm with you. You got a full thumbs up from me. Terry says he wants to change the electoral system from first past the post to proportional representation. Well, all very interesting.